Without further ado, we will introduce our first speaker for the second half here. She is an attorney at law with PC Immigration Law Firm. Please welcome Elham Sadri. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Elham Sadri. Can you hear me now? Better? Here? No, that's too close. Then I need this one. Should I turn off? Okay. Is it better now? Okay. So, hi, everyone. I'm Elham Sadri, immigration attorney in San Jose, California. We mainly represent immigrants across the United States in their family and removal proceeding, in their humanitarian basis. And the reason that I'm here, how my work relates to you, is that there are a lot of patients out there are using public benefit to receive their medical care, right? So receiving those public benefit may impact their eligibility later down the road for changing their status or getting green card and legalizing their status here. So it's important to know what they are using now and how they're using and plan ahead. Doesn't mean that they shouldn't use that benefit, but they need to plan ahead to make sure that they are not jeopardizing their future immigration status. So the concept that I'm talking about today is about public charge. Public charge is a concept that have been hot topic last few years because last administration expanded definition and using public benefit for immigrant and wanted to punish most immigrants for using public benefit. They eventually it was litigated and eventually was withdrawn. Later, a couple months ago in December, they passed new law. So now that's why we're talking about it, because there are a lot of misunderstanding about public charge and using public benefit by immigrant. Okay. So those misunderstanding about public benefit are in many different categories. People may be worried about if they use those public benefit, the government will find them and track their location. Or another misunderstanding is that if they use it, their family or children, U.S. citizen children, are using those benefit, that may impact their immigration status. Another thing that they may think they should stop receiving benefit, which is not. We will tell you why. And I think they may think that their family cannot access to those benefits. Well, I'm going to start with defining what is public charge. Public charge is a person who likely to become primarily dependent on government for income purpose. Well, the definition is vague in our point of view, and it's saying primarily dependent. What if they use some sort of benefit, but it's not primarily? It's temporary. So we can still argue that it's not primarily affecting the person. So patient can still use those benefits, health benefit, nutrition benefit, children benefit, right? And it might not be considered primarily. And it might not be for income support. It might be just for health benefit, might be only for food benefit. So that there are still ways to argue around it and find a way to help the person legalize their status, but still they use those benefits before in their life. So there are programs are counted specifically, clearly by government as public charge. The first one is cash assistance for income maintenance. So any cash assistance, no, definitely. We can't do anything about it, right? And long-term institutionalization, long-term hospitalization. Not many people may use that, but we will get under what category they may end up using long-term institutionalization. And I don't know the font, why it looked like this, but anyway. There are programs that benefits that don't count toward public charge. CHIP, SSA, housing, public health benefit, any benefit that relate to immunization or testing for communicable disease. These are strictly listed in the final rule that came out December. So it's on the rule with this detailed information. Any benefit that is related to education and childcare. Any benefit related to disaster relief, pandemic, any benefit that people received during pandemic, those check that they received, vaccination, medical treatment they received, test they received, all of them are okay because that's listed here. Rehabilitation for short period and home and community-based services. So if someone is, there's a part of it that are tricky. People are eligible for Medicaid, okay? Medicaid itself is fine. Immigrant can use it. It's not subject to, it's not a public charge. But what if they use long-term hospitalization benefit from Medicaid? That part is not okay. That part is public charge. That means primarily dependent on government. And we can still argue around it depending on other factors, but that part of Medicaid is different from whole concept of Medicaid. So it's okay to use Medicaid, but long-term hospitalization, it's different. And rehabilitation. So if someone received hospitalization, then move to rehab, that's fine. The rehab part is not count as a long-term hospitalization. So knowing that ahead of the time helps a lot because you can plan your benefit that you're receiving based on how and where to receive it, if possible. Imprisonment, well, that's an institution, but it doesn't apply here. That not count as public charge. Unlawful institutionalization under federal law, which if someone is ordered to be in an institution for a long time by court order, which is unlawful. Well, people, when they want to apply for green card or legalize their status, there are different ways. There are three main categories. People can apply for a green card and legalize their status under family category, family-based green card, employment-based green card, and third category is humanitarian. For the first two categories, if their family is sponsoring them or if their employer is sponsoring them, they are subject to public charge test. That means government tests them, whether or not they have used public benefit and whether or not they are public charge. So 2/3 of those immigration cases are being tested for public charge. That's why it's very important to know, and most people worry about it. But there are humanitarian category, which mainly people are victim of a crime here, either here or out their own in their own country. They are receiving these reliefs because they have been victims. So they are not subject to public charge. They don't test them whether or not they have used public benefit while they were immigrant. So those categories are, the first one is refugee and asylee. Whoever is afraid to go back to their home country because they either have been persecuted before or they are likely to get persecuted in their home country. So if that person is here, they had to use Medicare, Medicaid, and then long hospitalization, they're not even subject to it. That's fine. For another category is U visa and T visa. A lot of people are here, they're immigrant, they're a vulnerable community, they get victim of crime and like domestic violence, robbery, felony, or T visa is for human trafficking. We have a lot of it, but unfortunately, sex trafficker victim and labor trafficker. So those people are also not subject to public charge. And if they use public benefit before, that's fine. They don't test them when they apply for this type of green card. WAWA is for Women Violence Against Women Act. That means women and women, doesn't matter. The law says women, but it's applying to women and women. And in any concept of relationship, that if they have been in abusive relationship, but there was no a police report, and they didn't report it to police for many reasons, and they have been in abusive relationship with a U.S. citizen or green card holder, they can apply for green card because of the nature of their relationship, and they don't need the U.S. citizen spouse to sponsor them. The situation of that person just getting out of that relationship and stepping up and getting back their own independence, they need this support. They need this green card to get their green card, get work authorization, and also if they use public benefit, they are forgiven. That's fine. Okay. So DACA holder, that's another category. TPS, a lot of it stands for temporary protection status. There are a lot of people here from different countries that are subject to TPS. For example, Afghan, people from El Salvador, Ukrainian. These, depending on what's going on in those countries, government give them every 2 years, give them a TPS and keep renewing it. It's not a pass to green card, but if they are using public charge, that's fine. And people who have already green card, they're on green card for 5 years and they want to apply for citizenship. They don't test them for public charge. It doesn't matter if you use public benefit during the time that you have green card. And then we're going to talk about what is the test that government is running to see if someone is public charge or not. Current public charge policy that came out back in December is focusing on affidavit of support and totality of circumstances. Well, there are situations people have to use public benefit, health benefit, nutrition benefit, childcare benefit, right? So how we can explain to the government that that was temporary, they had to use that benefit, but they're not going to use it anymore, or they won't likely be dependent on government later down the road if they get green card. The first way of doing it is affidavit of support. There's a contract between their sponsor, the family member who sponsored them, right, in the first category. And second category of people who wanted to apply for a green card were employment-based, right? So their family or employer have to sign affidavit of support saying that they support that person. And they have enough income to support that person in addition to their own household member or their own employee, if that's employment-based. And also totality of circumstances. Well, totality of circumstances are different factors. The age of that person, their skill, their education, their employment, whether or not that person has a job at the time of applying for a green card. They may not have a job at the time that they used public benefit years ago, but they may have a job now. They may have received education now, or they might have assets. They may be healthy enough to be able to go and work. These are factors that government consider to see if the person will likely become public charge or not, or primarily dependent on government or not. So that's why it's important to discuss this matter if there's someone they have used public benefit with their lawyer before applying for any sort of immigration benefit, to be able to plan ahead and set up a good strategy how to overcome possible issue that government may raise down the road. And there are factors that there are some points that is important for everyone to know. Public charge tests only apply to some immigrants and some programs. So as I said, it's long-term hospitalization and cash assistance, nothing else. But Medicaid offer long-term hospitalization, right? So that's why it's important. COVID-19 testing, treatment, vaccine, relief payment, stimulus check, none of them are public charge. That's okay. There are a lot of people coming to us say that they received those checks. They're worried about applying for a green card now. That's fine, because that under current law, which came out December, that's okay. Some and also some simply using government benefit doesn't trigger immigration enforcement. Some people are worried undocumented immigrant, if they use some sort of public benefit, ICE will go and pick them up. They find their address, go and pick them up. That's not the case. That shouldn't be the case. That's better to say. And if your family member, US citizen children, receive any of those benefits, that's okay. It doesn't impact parents' situation and green card application. So children are okay as long as the application and benefit is under their name. And use of health, food assistance, housing program, they have been listed in the PowerPoint. They are not considered public charge. And as I said, if anyone wants to apply for any sort of immigration benefit, it's good to know ahead of the time to discuss and disclose using those benefits to plan ahead how to overcome possible issue. And the main issue right now is that the law came out December. It's just 2 months now. And we're not sure how government is going to interpret this law into cases. It takes a year usually until we see the result and how strongly they want to enforce this law. Sometimes they have different approach to those new laws, and we want to wait for. It may take a year, up to a year, that we start seeing their request for more evidence, request for proving that the person is not public charge. So we're waiting for them. And from now, we need to know to plan ahead to make sure that our clients and immigrants are aware of the possible issues that may come up in case they apply for any immigration benefit. And that being said, I think I covered everything about public charge that your patients or anyone who is receiving public benefit or health insurance now, health benefit, I'm sorry, through public benefit might see in their future immigration journey. And they just need to know what is okay, what is not okay, and just disclose it. Everything that I said doesn't mean that they shouldn't use this benefit. The only thing that they shouldn't use, long-term hospitalization, cash assistance. No to that one. But the rest of it, that's okay. They need to disclose it to their lawyer before applying for any benefit. And that's it, I think.
A question for Elham?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Sorry. Patients that have lost
Up to, they're not gonna be deported. Okay, that's not gonna. Yeah, it's not predictable. That's right. So if they use and end up to the point that they have, they're using public long-term hospitalization, that's when they just need to, if they need to discuss with their immigration attorney about possible solution, because they may be qualified or be eligible for one of those humanitarian category that I said. And if they are eligible for any of those humanitarian category to apply for green card or stay here, that's fine. That's okay. Yes, that's fine. And even if they're not eligible for humanitarian and they end up applying for green card through family base or employment base, we can still argue that it was not, if, depending on this case by case situation, right? We can still argue that it was not primarily dependent. It was just the time frame that that person was sick. Now the person is better, for example, and healthy enough to go and work, or the person has a sponsor, family member or employer who is sponsoring that person and is signing affidavit of support with government to promise that they can cover their cost. That's part of the process. Every family that apply for green card, they should have that sponsor. And that sponsor knows about what they are signing about. Yeah. Any other question? There are different category of families that can apply for each other. Okay, mostly when a child becomes 21 or older, they can apply for their parent. And generally speaking, parent can apply for both under or over 21 years old kids, but the time frame and situation change. So if the kid is under 21, usually it's faster. If the kid is over 21, it takes longer. But they can sponsor each other both way. Yeah, under certain circumstances, yeah, both way can sponsor each other. Yeah. Yes. Well, there is no specific category of green card or status for as a caregiver. Okay, but usually what we do is that during the session that we have with person, we screen them for all of these category. I usually ask a lot of questions from the person and see if they are eligible for any sort of green card or temporary status to see if we can get something that might not directly be related to being caregiver of her mom, but there might be other reason that we can apply for that person. And her mom, if mom is has a legal status, there might be an option to sponsor girl, depending on that situation, right? Depending on status of the girl, mom can, if mom has a green card, they can sponsor their kid. So we need to discuss and talk, or sometimes we end up having mom become citizen and then apply for kid because that's faster. So we go like we do a lot of game to get what we want. Yeah, you have to plan strategy to get what you want. Of course, you need to be careful about public charge and many other factors that make people ineligible. And knowing that help you to navigate which option is better for the person. Maybe one option is good for someone, but because of possible inadmissibility ground, which one of them is public charge, we don't choose this one. We go with the other one because we know that one is better. There's no all of those inadmissibility ground will be forgiven. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Any other question?
Hello. Thank you, Elham. No, thank you, guys. Let's give a round of applause.